Hey everyone, it's Heather from the Science Center. This is your camp training for both of our roller coaster themed camps. So both our K3 and our 4-8 camp for summer camps, at least for this year, are going to be running at the same time because we are going to be taking an awesome field trip to Cedar Point for our roller coaster theme. So this is going to be for K3 Crazy Coasters and 4-8 Theme Park Engineering. So this is what your curriculum should look like. If you want to print this out, at least the first couple, or follow along on your computer with me, that helps a lot. What we're going to do is go over just how the curriculum is laid out, especially for our newer teachers. And then we'll spend the majority of our time diving into the field trip and expectations and also the content itself with the different activities. So before we get started, your code word for this training is pendulum. So if you can email the word pendulum to Alana, that way we can make sure you get paid for your training hours or the time for this video. All right, so in the top corner, you'll see our topic and title. Again, I just put roller coaster science, and then I broke down the different titles here for summer camps. And the grade level is K-8. We have a lot of activities, and they're all very open-ended. So I'm pretty confident that we'll be good to go for both kindergarten through third grade and fourth through eighth grade. It'll be up to you as the instructor to tailor to your class as you get to know them throughout the week. All right, here's our driving question. It's just, how are STEM concepts used to design and build the best theme parks? Super general. This is how a lot of teachers will write this on the board or refer back to it throughout the week, just to kind of have a good flow for why we're doing each activity that we're doing and our goal for the whole week. So that's our inquiry driving question. The overview, like I said, this is what's marketed for your specific camp. So I'll let you read that depending if you're a K3 or a 4-8 instructor. Over here, we have our content standards. So I have K3 and 4-8 all listed out here. I think it continues on to the second page just a little bit for those 7th and 8th grade standards. But those are just in case anyone's wondering. We use Ohio learning standards instead of the next gen science standards because we haven't fully adapted that in Ohio yet. So this is what the kiddos are used to for their scope and flow. And then your objectives. So your objectives, as long as you get to the activities you need to, this is just what the camper should be able to do by the end of camp. And it relates back to what was marketed and advertised, what they're signing up for. So I'll let you read through all of that depending on your grade band and what you're teaching on your own time. If you flip this over, you'll also see that we have some career connections here, just in case you want to talk about it, anyone's wondering, and then our targeted 21st century skills for the full camp week. So again, you can read through, this is just your overview page, and send your code word pendulum to Alana so we can make sure we count you for training. All right, and then we're going to dive into all of the good stuff. So this is your list of activities. Like I said, I'm going to spend a lot of time going through not only the content here, but we're going to start with the field trip. So actually, I lied really quick. There's notes up here to the instructor for the whole week. Please make sure you're saving your scraps. There's a lot of recycled materials in this camp, a lot of projects, engineering projects, designing and building with those recycled materials. Any viable scraps I would suggest saving because we're going to reuse those for the end of the week. So if you save them just in a pile in your classroom or something, that would be great. The activities that are in bold are the ones that are critical to deliver. That's what's making sure we're hitting the objectives and in turn the overview and what the campers are signing up for. The activities that are not in bold, those are your extensions. So if you have extra time throughout the day and there's something that you need something else to do, then those are the extensions that are there for you. Okay. Monday. So Monday is slides and rides day. So that's obviously we're talking about amusement park science throughout the whole week. So this is where we're going to talk about slides and rides. But the first thing you're going to do is spend a good amount of time, it says 30 to 45 minutes, really not only introducing the week, but the field trip, which we're planning right now to be on Tuesday. Obviously, that can change. It's weather dependent. We may have a rain out day. It will not be Monday, but right now we are planning on Tuesday, just so you know. So I want you guys to spend some time Monday morning going over all the rules and expectations for the field trip. So what I'm going to do is put the list of activities down. I'm going to go through just for the Cedar Point chaperones. They're going to get this whole one pager. All of this is in that first Monday introduction activity, the lesson plan for the activity in your actual curriculum too. So follow along on one of these. But just so you know, you will get this information. We're obviously trying to recruit a whole bunch of chaperones so we can have smaller groups throughout the day or just even more helping hands. All of the chaperones that are not instructors that have the curriculum information, they'll get the same stuff, like I said, that you have in your curriculum in this one-page sheet. So just so you are aware, we are going to Cedar Point for our field trip. Their culminating project throughout the week, which they're building out of recycled materials, is building a model of a theme park with their group. So one thing that you can do while you're at Cedar Point is really challenge them to think about how the rides are built, what the rides look like, how they're organized throughout the park. There's different sections of the park that have different themes, but also how Cedar Point create like a park atmosphere, what other things besides rides are in the park, and all of that. So those are all things you can come back to as a chaperone or as an instructor as you're going throughout Cedar Point and having them come back to the camp content and thinking about how they're going to make their project, which is all the way down at the bottom here on our sheet, but just so you know how it ties in. All right, so we're just going to read through this. Just some reminders. One, obviously, always have fun. That is the whole point of going. Two, if you are a chaperone instructor, you're responsible for the kids. You have to carry the necessary medications with you in a backpack, whatever you need to bring at all times. This includes EpiPens. This includes your cell phone. Make sure it is fully charged when we go. External batteries are always great. This is how you're going to contact ops if you have somebody who's sick or not feeling well, or if they get hurt or they just need a break. You need to have a cell phone on you to call the appropriate person, which we'll get to in just a second. But all of that stuff will go into the bag that you will carry as the chaperone throughout the whole day. Especially EpiPens. Those have to be with an adult that is with that child at all times. You can store your backpack while you are loading or while you're on rides. They have the storage areas. You can store your backpacks there. All right. Please keep a close eye on your campers. Even if you have 4-8 campers, obviously Cedar Point might be very busy. We cannot just let them go off and let's say they need to use the restroom and we're all the way over here in a different pavilion. You have to take your whole group and go with them and know where they are and have them in eyesight. Obviously, restrooms are a little bit different, but you should be right outside those restrooms at all times, even if they're older campers. You should have a count of your campers at all times and an attendance list as well, which Alana will provide for you. You have to not only know the counts, but you should do really like a eye to face check and attendance for name count at least 3 different points throughout the day. If, like I said, anyone's feeling ill, they get injured, if they just need water or a break, you need to use your cell phone to call either Alana or Karen is the plan right now. Alana will be handling operations for kindergarten through 3rd grade groups. Karen will handle it for 4th through 8th grade groups. Their phone numbers, which I suggest putting in your phone now, are highlighted in yellow on the chaperone sheet. They're also highlighted in yellow again in the Monday curriculum, that very first lesson plan for introductions. It's in the hints and tips sidebar, so it really should pop out at you. Put those phone numbers in, just do both of them in your phone now. That way you can contact them if you need to. Super important. Please do not purchase anything for campers in the park whatsoever. Campers are not allowed to bring money. We are not going to the games. We are not going to buy food. We're not going to gift shops, anything like that. It just is not fair. It's impossible to keep it consistent throughout the groups, and it's not fair if somebody gets to go to the gift shop and a chaperone buys something for them versus a different group. So we're not purchasing anything for campers as chaperones. Campers are not to have money with them whatsoever. If they do have money, that's something that can go in your backpack that will be returned to them in full at the end of the day. And then we will explain to the parents that they will have the email before saying, please don't bring money, but we will explain why they're bringing home all of the money that they brought with them. All right, some expectations for this is what you should tell the campers as well. Safety. They always should stay with their chaperone. I just tell them you have to keep your eyes on your chaperone at all times because chaperones tend to wander off. So it kind of gives them a challenge. Walking feet, listening ears, obviously appropriate behavior. We usually say at the Science Center, like respect yourselves, respect your chaperone, respect your peers and other people in the park. So we're not going to be running around like crazy. We're just going to have a nice time and walk together. Really important to reiterate to them if they need a break, if they need water, if they just need to sit down or shade or anything, we're really wanting them to have a good time and enjoy it. If they're not, please tell them to tell you, and you can call ops, again, either Alana or Karen, depending on your grade band, and they will come take care of it. All right, what to wear. So this is for you and for the campers. Camp Curiosity t-shirt. They absolutely have to wear this t-shirt. You have to wear your t-shirt. We are going to assign t-shirts on Monday. By assigning t-shirts, we just mean sizing them up. We have all the different sizes and everything. We're going to make sure that they leave that t-shirt at the Science Center on Monday, so that on Tuesday morning when they come in, they can already have their t-shirt size and whatever, just put it on. You can put their initials on the tag on Monday if you need to. And then they can put it on when they get to the Science Center on Tuesday for the field trip, and we can load up on the bus and go. That way no one forgets their shirts either, and we'll have extras just in case somebody isn't there on Monday and they are coming on Tuesday. They'll wear it over the clothes or change on Tuesday morning. Yes. Closed-toed shoes. Make sure they're closed-toed, they're secured and comfortable shoes, especially for those who are riding like the Top Thrill coasters. They don't allow you to wear flip-flops and things. I don't want the campers barefoot in the park. So please reiterate that tennis shoes that tie are absolutely the best, or Velcro or whatever. Tennis shoes, perfect. Sunscreen. I obviously burn very easily. I can understand if they need sunscreen. However, that is a medication. We are not allowed to apply sunscreen to them throughout the day. They have to, and we will put this in the email for the families, they have to apply sunscreen to the families, to their campers before they get out of the car. Good thing to reiterate to campers too, so they can remind their parents, but we will put this in the email as well. Please tell them they cannot, even if it's a sunny day, they cannot wear hats, they cannot wear sunglasses, anything like that will fall off during a ride or whatever experience that we're having. If you lose something at the park or if it falls off at a ride, it's gone. We're not going to go get it. We're not going to spend any time to get it. So tell that to the campers. If they lose it, it's gone. So don't bring it. What to bring? They all have to pack their lunch. We are not buying anything at the park again. We are not buying lunches. They are all to pack a lunch. If they are buying a lunch from us, that's a little bit different. So we will obviously bring packed lunches there, but they should all have a packed lunch with their name, first and last name on it. Tuesday morning / when we're doing the field trip morning, as the instructor / a chaperone, you will be in charge of making sure that they each have a lunch bag with their name on it that we can put in a cooler that can stay at our lunch area. Telling campers, again, do not bring money to the park. We do not play games, go to gift shops, or do anything that require items to be purchased. This is a big one. They cannot bring a water bottle. There is nowhere to store them. There are water opportunities throughout the park that just have little cups of water. We can absolutely do that. And they're free water stations. We're going to use those instead of using water bottles. So you as a chaperone should know if anyone is saying, hey, I need some water or whatever, you need to take your whole group and go get water at that point, especially we're going in August. It may be very, very hot. So plan to do that throughout the day. And then also plan to take your whole group if somebody says that they need water. If you're in a line or something and somebody really needs some water, that's something that you can call ops for instead of getting out of line and getting back in at the end. All right, and then campers cannot bring a bag of any kind. Obviously, you as an instructor will have your backpack to store those medications and information, etc. Your bags can be stored before they go on a ride. No one else can. They have paid lockers and things, and we're not going to deal with that. So tell them they cannot bring. Really, they should not be carrying anything, and anything that's on their body needs to be secured on their body. All right. The only other things for you are, again, those inquiry questions that get them thinking about their culminating project throughout the week. And then I have a link on here and also in your curriculum about just different games you can play while waiting in line with your campers. We know Cedar Point lines can get pretty long, and it's just a lot of waiting. So there's a link here that has, I think, 50 different games that you can play with them. Instructors, I have it in here for the introduction for Monday as well. Throughout Monday, though, play some of these games with your campers so that they can teach their chaperones. If it's not you, which it very well may not be because we're getting a lot more people, they can teach their chaperones these games as they're in line as well. So please play some of these games and look at that link and do that on Monday. Okay. That's the field trip. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. Alana and Karen have a plan on how we're going to break up different groups depending on thrill level and age level and ability levels and things like that. So if you have any questions, please let us know. All right, we're going to go back to our list of activities. So that basically covers all of Monday's introduction activity, except for the culminating project, which I mentioned a few times. But again, they are using those recycled materials, working in a group. However you want to span the groups out, make sure they have a space that they can work. Generally, it's on the floor, like outside of the actual area where they need to walk, to build their park throughout the week. They're going to use those recycled materials and add to their park. All right. The second one is the pendulum ride. So this is kind of like anything that's on a pendulum. Obviously, we'll talk about pendulums, but like that boat ride that a lot of us had in carnivals growing up, it just kind of goes back and forth on a pendulum and swings. This is a very important activity to get to because Timken company has donated, well, they're our main sponsor for all of our camps, but they also have donated ball bearings for the campers to specifically use within this activity. So all the instructions and pictures and everything are within your curriculum. Take a look, but basically they're just going to bend a straw through the inside of the ball bearing and then figure out how to make that swing. The ball bearing just reduces the friction so it can keep swinging longer than if it was just held up by a piece of string or something. Again, Timken is sponsoring this, so if you have any opportunity to take photos and send them to Alana, she can get them to our marketing team. And that way we can please make sure all the campers are photo released that you're taking pictures of, first and foremost, always. But then you can send them to Alana and we can get them to Timken because I'm sure they will want to see them. And then you'll go to zip line. So zip line is one, we have really large zip lines that we use. We generally set them up on the mezzanine depending on space availability. Alana will let you know where you're going to go and when your time to do the zip line is. Obviously, we have a lot of groups because everyone's doing this at the same time. According to the curriculum, that's not going to work. So we're going to create a schedule to rotate groups through. You're going to build your zipline contraption in your classroom, and then you're going to take it to wherever the zipline is, hook it up, and watch it go. You'll have a certain amount of time, so hopefully you'll be able to do it multiple times within your time limit, but that depends on the size of your class and your campers. Build a coaster. So anytime you if we're building a coaster, building a slide, even the zip line, if they can, These are all things that they can add into their culminating project, into their park, and they can do all of these things within their group, or they can do it individually, and just add multiple coasters into their park, because that's how it works anyway. So build a coaster. Again, they're using recycled materials just to build a roller coaster with a marble. So basically a marble run. Some of the most successful ones we've had are just somebody taking like a paper plate and making it like a spiral, like cutting it out, and then the marble can spiral down it. You can also use the wall, as long as you're not using duct tape on the wall. Please just use the masking tape. And you can tape things to make it kind of slide down, or roll down in different ways. If they get really creative, they can make it roll down quickly and then do a loop. That I've mostly just seen with like the foam insulation, in which I don't know if we'll have a lot of that, but whatever they want to do to make their coasters. And then those are all of your actual activities throughout the day. The other two are extensions. So one is building a slide. That's where, I mean, it's going to be very similar to building a coaster. They're going to use the wall, or if they can make it freestanding for 4-8 especially, that's a good challenge. That's great, but you can experiment with the different materials, and some reduce friction more than others, and which ones help the marble go the fastest. I've also seen it done as a competition between groups. So each group will work together to build a freestanding slide, or one that can attach to the wall at some point. And they have assigned materials, and they try to make the fastest slide. And then the other one is a roller coaster builder app. So if you have the iPads available and you have extra time, please call for ops, and they will let you know if we can do the app experience or not. It's basically a free app where they just can build a roller coaster. We want to make sure they're in creative mode. And that way they don't have to go through the tutorials and things, but they can just add different pieces to their coaster. The kids absolutely love it because they can make absolutely ridiculous roller coasters that go like up into space and things. So that's a really fun one. And that's Monday. All right. Tuesday, you don't have any content, because that right now, again, is when we're planning our field trip to Cedar Point. So we will have no content for Tuesday. However, if for whatever reason, because we know how things can change, the field trip is not on Tuesday, and let's say it's on Wednesday or Thursday, then just take that curriculum for whatever day the field trip's on and plug it into Tuesday. We'll be good with that. So Tuesday, no curriculum. Wednesday is your games and experiences day. So they should have seen that, even though we're not playing them, but there's different games that are at the park, and different experiences like ring toss games and things like that that people can do at theme parks, and they can add it into the model of their theme park. One of them that's always a hit is the water bucket challenge. So this one, if you have K3s, they're going to need some help with the fine motor skills, but basically you have just a cup. You're going to use a hole punch and punch 2 holes in the sides, tie one string so you make a loop, tie it through each hole, and then you go outside with a pitcher of water, fill up a little bit of the cup, and they just swing it around and use the centripetal force to try to keep the water inside the cup. They absolutely love it. There's different levels of the challenge within your curriculum, because like who can go the slowest without dumping their water, who can go the absolute fastest, can you swing it around this way instead of just this way, all these different things. They absolutely love it. It gets them up and out of the classroom as well. All right, the next one is ring toss. So the ring toss game, they're just building something that resembles a ring toss game. And this is all using the recycled materials. Now, we're obviously experimenting with trajectory and balance and things like that. It is up to them if they want to make like a life-size version, or if they want to make a smaller scaled version for their actual theme park. That's up to them. Obviously, the smaller one is much harder to win. I put your extension in the middle of the day today because I figured they may need something a little different. Your extension is the Cartesian diver. So basically they have a water bottle. You put a ketchup packet or float a ketchup packet in the water bottle, close it, and then when you squeeze the water bottle, so you're adding pressure, that high pressure makes the ketchup bottle sink. And when you release it, it floats back up to the top. We also have an exhibit here. So if you're here, you can absolutely see that. And that's the one with the lever that does pretty much the exact same thing with the little thing that looks like a squid, then go up and down. Different challenges, again, that are in your curriculum that you can do with this, like can you float it in the middle? Who can hold it at the bottom the longest? All different things, like what happens if you flip it upside down, all that kind of stuff. All right, then back to regular activities, trick shots. This is really like anything they want to do. All about like those YouTube videos where like you throwing pens into a cup, or you're doing the water bottle challenge where it's trying to flip and then land. All these different things are like an experience or like a show that you may see in the park, and they love doing trick shots. So whatever they want to do with it, they can work as a group, they can work individually, and then they have time to work on their culminating project, which is probably, unless you started on Monday, the first time they're going to really be working on this. So you may need some time. There is no lesson plan written for the culminating project. We just kind of went over it. You'll go over it in depth in the Monday introduction activity, and then they can just go ahead and build. They're going to work with the same group throughout the week, though. All right, and then Thursday, also I should mention the Clean Lab competitions. If you haven't been with us before, you don't have to make it a competition, but this is your time to have the campers help you clean your classroom. So as an instructor, you have less to do after they leave throughout or to the end of the day. A lot of the times the K-3 classrooms like to compete with the classes that may be next door or that we can see and see who has like the cleanest classroom, things like that. That's the Clean Lab competition piece, but really that's just your cleanup time. All right, Thursday's theme is the water park. So the first thing we're going to learn is waterworks, which is how water works. We're going to do the expo marker experiment on a ceramic plate. It's really important to just drop water next to the expo marker so it can gently lift up off the plate. And you'll talk about hydrophobic materials with the oil in the expo marker. And then after we do, and then a density bottle. Or we'll put Alka-Seltzer in the density thing that they make and talk about the lava lamps and things like that. After they do that, they're going to make a water slide. So they may have already made a slide in the Monday Ride and Slides activity. So if you saved that, you don't have to, but if they did, you can do that and just talk about how to make it waterproof and what materials are waterproof and why. Ties really nicely into the waterworks activity, or they can start from scratch, or they can build something smaller scale so they can put different water slides into their parks, however they want to do it, but they're going to use the recycled materials to build a water slide. Now, really important, please do not test all the water slides inside your classroom and flood our carpeting. If they want to test it and test how waterproof it is, just take a couple cups of water and their slides somewhere outside. Let ops know that you're doing this, and they can test it outside. If you don't want to test it and you can say it's just theoretical, that's fine too. You'll know your campers, especially by Thursday, and what they will want and be able to do. Boat float. So if you've been with us before, you've probably done the boat float activity. If not, it's a really fun one. Basically, we use thermo beads that they start off as beads, and mostly, unless you're a group that's reusing, when they get hot, they kind of melt is not the right word, but they heat up and they kind of mold into this goo. When the campers, you will take it out for the campers out of the hot water. As a group, they can use that and mold it into a boat. They'll have a bowl of cold water on their table. They can put the boat that they mold into the cold water. It'll turn into a hard plastic again that will then float on top of the water. And then they can test how much weight their boats can hold. And then if they want to redesign it, they just take it back to you at the hot water station. You can heat it, and then they can remold it, cool it down, and then float and keep going for as long as you have time for. And then the last thing for that day is just more culminating project time. They're going to do a lot with the culminating project. on Friday. So I'd spend some time really getting it solidified on Thursday. All right, and Friday is our animals day / finishing our park day. So they'll notice probably at Cedar Point that there's like the petting zoo, there's a lot of animals there too, and it's really important to take care of our animals. So how do we do that, especially on a really hot day at a place like Cedar Point? So first thing they're going to do is they're just going to build an animal out of modeling dough. It really important if you have any gluten allergies, please, you should be looking at your allergy list anyway at the beginning of the week, but let operations know. And we have a couple things of gluten-free dough that they can use as well. So they'll be building an animal out of that. It can be a silly animal, it can be a real animal, it can be multiple animals, whatever they want to do. And then the next activity, they're going to build a shelter for those animals. Now, the animals will include a UV bead, at least one, that they can either put as like a collar or something like a scale on the back or whatever they want to do. But it's important to have those UV beads because the shelter, the goal of that is to protect the animal from the harmful rays of the sun. So if the bead that is on the animal is turning a color, especially for inside, but you can take it by a window, if it turns colors, that means that they need to improve their design so that the UV rays cannot get through their shelter. And if it doesn't turn a color, then they're good to go. So that's our shelter build. Again, I put your extension in the middle of the day just to kind of break it up. It's more important that you get to everything else. But this is the safari car build. So just as like an experience, like an Animal Kingdom in Disney World type experience, if they want it for their park, they can build a car just out of recycled materials that can go through as like a safari that goes through all their different animals in their park. Culminating project then. So this is where not only will they finish their culminating project if they need to, but they're going to film a commercial for their park. So they can write out a script. They can make like a little Lego person or Play-Doh person or whatever to pretend to go through the park, whatever they want to do. You will have an iPad in your room at all times. And you're just going to actually go around and film. It can be them talking about the park, whatever they want to do. You're going to go around and film their commercials for their park and then use the instructions in your curriculum to upload it to the Google Drive. Alana's going to then send those home. Again, super important. If a camper is not photo released, we cannot film them even in the background of someone else's video. So if they don't have a photo release, you need to let that camper know and that group know that they can still play a role. They can write the scripts. They can move people around if we're doing little models or whatever they want to do, but they cannot be, any part of them cannot be in the video of their commercial or in the background of anyone else's. So as you are filming, please be aware of that. And then the last activity is just called Measure Up. And this is, there's just different measurements about animals and how far they can jump or their height and how much weight they can hold, things like that, and how amazing animals are. And we'll compare that to what the campers can do. So you can put the different heights on the board or on the wall, and we can measure the campers compared to, I think it's a giraffe, or how far something can jump comparing to how they can jump. And it just kind of gets them up and moving. Okay, I think that's it. Again, please email your code word to Alana. It is pendulum one last time, and that way we can make sure that you get paid for your training time here. And if you have any questions, especially about the field trip, please let us know ahead of time, and we can get those answered for you since our field trip's early in the week. All right, guys, have a great week. Thanks.